Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Stream of conscious rap. Stream of conscious rap. Yeah, welcome back. I said welcome back. Put it all in the bag. But they don't wanna know facts. No, they don't wanna hear facts. See, they don't wanna hear that. They're just talking that trash. I'm pulling it up on my phone so I can see all of y'all in the chat. But I'm just wondering, what are the facts they're bringing to the table? They really got nothing. I'm just opening onions layer after layer, but really confronting these problems they never be touching. And I'm just wondering, what the fuck is the cushion that they are relying on? I'm just waiting till the time is way gone. And I can see that I'm on another level, they don't have the time for it. But I'm sure that I can find my place to cling on. I'm speaking Klingon, a language they don't understand, but it rings on. And I just let my thing go and I let it ring out. And I'ma see if they can get the rings out. I'm getting rings on the finger and I'm just letting shit ring out. And I'm just letting it out and I'm seeing if they got a doubt. Probably not, better figure it out. And let me just let the letters spit out. And let me just put it all in a pouch. Keep it safe cause you know that all of the doubts they come in there crushing. And I'm just trying to touch the function. Know that what the fuck they are spitting is never coming the way they want it to. It's never coming across the page, always gets crumpling. And I'm sick of the discussion, I'm sick of what they're putting in it. They got nothing for this, and now this shit is needing to be pushed forward. And of course I'm forward in this. Of course there's more than disses that need to be dismissed. This is something mystifying to the average person, but I'm just searching through the mist to see if I can get myself on a list. I might need to enlist, but not for the US. Never that unless you got a grip. I need a grip so I can pull things back, trying to claw back. There's no going back, and there's no opening the door back. And I'ma see if it's all facts or it's all just something that was sent through facts. And this is an intuition you're gonna need to get to, otherwise you're gonna have to get thrown back. I mean, let me just get the message through to ya. I'm not listening to ya, I'm just letting that truth come, and I'm hoping that you succumb. Cause the message that I'm bringing, that's that truth serum. And you don't know it, but you know that it is one thing. One little crumb that you get probably takes you to the next. But the one ring, I got the songs that they gon' sing. I know the things that they won't say. I got the message but it won't bring out, won't be clear. Now it's clear as day who got the motherfucking route. Yeah, I'm trying to take it this route. They're wondering why they get taken out soon as I step in now. Now they're seeing that I'm making my rounds. I had to take this shit down. And I'm sure that they're making a sound like they always do. How could you wait on the clowns? It's just clowns everywhere and they barely are making a sound. So I'm just raining it down. They're just waiting for the rain to come down, but it's never gonna come. That day will not come. I'm staying under it and I'm staying where they want. But the long days getting left behind, and I'm just seeing what they come for it. Not something I know. I'm trying to comport and see if I can transport them to somewhere else. But really there's too much discussion and it's kinda causing a kerfuffle. So they're gonna have to solve it amongst themselves. There's no solvent. I'm the one trying to resolve some things, but yeah, but I'm just coming in. It's awful things that are being talked, but they're not trying to bring. I'm just bringing all this, and it's clarity that's coming, and all this freedom's ringing out. Cause you know I got all the bling. Yeah, warming up some things, and I'm just trying to be that one who's coming with the substance, please. I don't give a fuck about these kings. Ever be 10, better be hesitating. Where you wanna be hating, coming back, now you're gonna have to replace them. Yeah, see, I'm just knowing my thing is, I'm knowing that I'm bringing it, knowing that the sound is coming through on clarity, it be ringing. I know that the feeling is stinging, I'm sure that you're feeling it. No, you're not aware of the opinion, it might just come through. And now my pension, I got a pension to put in this interest, and I know that it's pinching you, but you're gonna have to get to the engine and just see how this shit gets fueled. And this is something you're gonna have to listen to, whether you want to or not. Tupac is one of the main inspirations for this shit that I'm doing. And one of the most influential dudes to ever be hitting the scene with the tunes. And I'm just trying to give you attitude, and that is latitude you're not gonna reach me at if you have to rely on a mat that you have always known your whole life. Matter of fact, if you want to get to the real split of it, this is something that you're gonna have to discuss. If you want to learn more about it, then really pin it like pin cushions, pin it to the top of the discussion. I can use whatever words I want to, and matter of fact, this is something that is gonna get into ya, and I hope you can get the cushion. Thinking rap's the lowest common denominator is a racist discussion. That's why you're muted on the channel for the future. No matter whatever happens, never gonna hear a word again out of your mouth. That's the patterns. That's how I like to pattern these things, and really I'm scattering them, going back to where I'm supposed to be, but they not having it with them. I'm having too much havoc in the back of my mind, and I'm sure the savages are gonna come for me one day. They're gonna ravage me, but that's just the end of it. I got too many cabbages to split, too many packages. Things in my mind that might just bring you back, it might relent. Never, I'm gonna understand that this is the only infraction that you understand. This discussion is something that gets through to you once in a moon, once in a full moon. But get into those conditions, it's not the easiest things to do, especially if you're a fool and you're not including what is true and what you truly need for the meal, the food for thought that's gonna come through you. Eventually the comfort is not gonna be enough to diffuse the feelings you're feeling, and I'm feeling the confusion in the air. I know that just a little bit of fusion's probably what they need to get them, but this is infused with vaccines. You need some medicine that is gonna actually clean your lungs and maybe even the veins in between. This is something that is speaking to kings and queens, history, ancient artifacts that the art is in fact a part of, and the particles that are putting you and pulling you apart, and the facts in the back that you're at. Trying to get my position right, but this is just a condition. I'm not sure if I'm feeling it right. I'm lost in the night, I'm living it. I'm sure that their minds are limited, but I know my mind is an escape, so I'm trying to take it to the right place. I can't read all that shit you're talking about, Jeff Gordon, but I'ma let it stay in its place. Doesn't seem like you're saying anything whack in my chat I would have to replace or have to erase, so I'ma let you say your thing and save some face. But this is something I just need to efface. I mean, I need to face it. I'm sick of being so anxious. I'm sick of being lost in a spaceship. Slim Shady is the shadiest. Not trying to relinquish or trace those steps. I'm trying to retrace my own, but really I'm placing what is known. Yeah, Ricky, something about that, not sure, but I'm sure that it gets sticky soon as I come into the room and start spitting, speaking these things. People are gonna have to rethink their whole world, and while they're thinking, they're gonna have to let it flow down the sink. I got an inkling that something's about to change. I'm trying to see a change. I'm trying to make some change out of my pocket. It's not making sense to me, but what was sent to me, I mean really next century, you're gonna have to get the next fucking message. I mean, it's coming through clear essentially. I'm not sure if you get it, but I know that it's naked in its fucking essence. Don't even wait for me. My fucking flow is relentless. I wanna turn up this filter a little bit so you can feel this little warping. I hope that it heals this. I know that the realness is kinda sticking through, and this is something it's giving you a little bit of fuel. That's what it's meant to do. I'm really just trying to reach dimensions too, and of course this missile would just get through and reach you, and this is a limit you gon' reach and break through the glass ceiling only if you want to. And of course the 1-2 is never something could contain me. I mean, the brain of me is crazy. I'm just in the lane of me, and really they wanna lay, but they don't understand that laymen aren't staying where I'm saying. I mean, staying where I'm standing and understanding what I'm saying. I mean, I'm trying to place the same damn thing. Once again, there's only so many ways that I can paraphrase it. Yeah, sniffing on the glizzies. What is it to me? Not sure, but I'm trying to get in it. What is they? They're just trying to spit risky things, but I'm not seeing the distance between me and the last things I say. You're going out the craziest way. I'm trying to make it this way, but I know that there's things flowing over my head that I don't understand. Probably never could this way, but there's distance between me and the things they wanna say. They wanna put it all in, but they don't know what honest is, and that's why I'm balling and they're just on the balls with it. Yeah, but I'm on the ball, so I'm sure that currently the call you're feeling is coming from the inside of the house. You better answer it, otherwise you're gonna have to regret the things you left on the table, and that's cancerous. Might just eat away at you over the years. And of course the cantankerous way they want to speak to me is just tanks that get blown over in a second. is a little bit of powder in the fuselage is enough to get it wrecking, turn it to wreckage. And I reckon they're gonna have to understand the right things to put in it, yeah. And crazy cone, I'm going the way it's gone. Fly dude 614, you know I'm on that crazy tone. And I'm just trying to get toned on the mic. I'm living alone, I'm living all on my own. Just trying to be in that fucking zone, trying to hit the moon and go over it. I'm fucking over it, yeah. And I know I'm getting closer to it with every fucking rhyme and flow that I spit. I'm just trying to stand with emotion with it, getting a little emotional, and I'm sure that it goes. I mean, I know the pull, it always touches you, no matter what you do, no matter who you are. I'm sure it's clutching you. I mean, I'm trying to just stand next to you, even if I'm fucking a million miles away from you, yeah. Crazy cone, I mean, I'm not sure what way you're going, changing your brain every fucking flow that I stay on. It's like if I'm staying on flow, then you're staying in your brain, but all of a sudden you're changing. Every time I switch my flow, there's a new opinion coming from you, and really I'm feeling confused, and I'm wondering if it is something I'm doing, or maybe it's just a mind state that changes rapidly, like the rapids that want to suck you under. There are tunnels that are gonna get you rapidly and trap you underneath the caves where you can never be saying your mind candidly. And I'm just trying to brandish these rhymes in a way that they can't even copycat the brand if they try. I mean, really they want to, but they're gonna cry. I mean, I'm trying to tear it. The fucking tarot cards they wanna act like is aware of the future, but I can't hear it. And I'm barely aware of, I'm barely apparent in a motherfucking, yeah, touching melody. Okay, gotta go, fuck it, what's left of me? I'm the motherfucking felon on the motherfucking rhymes, and you know it's best to be blessed, but there's a blessing getting left behind, and of course it's the essence of me. That's the ebb and flow. You might need a fucking lesson to read. I mean, the curriculum is moving a little bit faster, a little bit past you. But if you speak to the pastor, he'll decide if he's gonna put you out to pasture or gonna tutor you. Maybe just spend some time with you to make sure you get it faster. Not likely, but I'm coming after you. But what is coming after? I'm not sure, but I'm hoping it comports. I'm trying to find some things to come for and supports to hit, cause otherwise there's probably not much I'm gonna live. And I'm just losing my mind. Yeah, something about demonic. Cussing is demonic, man. Get the fuck out of this discussion, cause you're not on it. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, to be honest. I don't care about that bullshit, and I can say it again if I wanted. That toxic stuff you're talking is not gonna make a difference. Me just spitting my shit has no implications on whether or not there's demonic entities that are entering in your circumference. That's all about you, fam. It's not me. I can say what I want, and matter of fact, I can even get on the top 3. No one could ever top me on a mic, no matter what shit I wanna speak. I could be clean if I wanted to, but why would I do that when the easiest way to get my shit through to you is to fucking put it through a fucking tube? Yeah, and what's the confusion? I mean, what are they even trying to be doing? I'm just moving through this destruction like we all are doing. Everyone's waiting for instructions, wondering what the fuck should I be doing with myself. But the trueness is that due is always coming in the morning, and there's always dues to be paid. But as long as you're staying on top of it, then you win. So let me just make sure this place that you're in, I need a Hawaiian pizza. That was never my favorite, but I worked in Hawaiian. I mean, I worked in pizza places for like years, and I ain't lying. But to be honest, the Hawaiian type was never my favorite. Barbecue was also whack. I'm more like an Alfredo type, but that was never an option at the place that I was at. Yeah, I'm not gonna read all that shit about revolting and fucking, baby killers or something. Yeah, nitty nufty. I'm gonna leave you a comment, but really I feel like you're trying to front on me. But to be honest, if you wanna get a message across to me, you're gonna have to make it a little condensed for me, at least at the moment. I'm gonna be chatting in the chat for a second, but it sounds like you're saying that because I'm rapping about the essence of me, that means I'm not doing things that I could be doing in my spare time. But I'm wondering, what exactly is it that you're doing with yourself? What value does it have? I'm about to fucking mute you from the chat. I don't need to engage with that. Yeah, on acid, I wish that would be factually sick, but I'm not on no acid swish. That would switch some things in my brain and get me on a different wavelength. But the length that my brain is on and the things I'm going to is probably taking the tame thing on. I'm trying to just make this thing go on, and now they're just waiting on the liaisons. I'm the liaison, and I'm the fucking bed that they want to lay on. Last thing that they're gonna say before they want to stay strong, before they stay gone. And I'ma see where the stakes are, like a stake through the knife, like a quasar, a fucking star in the night that I had to blow some lasers through just to make sure they stay where they are. Alright, we can chill for the rapping for now, but don't worry, I'll be back to it. I can't tell how many of the people in the chat have actually seen me before. Probably none of them. Strangers in chat. We'll get back to the rapping later. I want to talk about a couple things. Talking about the Iran war and supposedly a deal that's coming with that. I don't think that that's a deal that's coming. But Trump apparently said it is. So that means it's true. Let's see if I can find a decent article about it. From what I heard, essentially Trump said that he was going to be doing a deal. And then it did not go that way. Because essentially it was never really a deal. Trump said that he had a deal with Iran. But that's essentially what he's been doing this entire time. He's been saying that he has deals, and then he doesn't. Yeah. Well, I appreciate it, Andy. I do mostly political commentary, but I also rap. I just like to get here on these streams and fucking rap a little bit. But yeah, I mostly talk politics and shit. And I'll be doing more of the rapping later. Yeah, so Trump said that he had a deal. And there never was really any indication of that from the Iranians. And they apparently were saying behind the scenes, or were being told behind the scenes, not to take Trump's rhetoric too seriously. So essentially, like, their understanding of Trump is that when he says these things about a deal, you just ignore him. So that, I think, is pretty much where this situation is at. And now Trump is basically saying we're not going to rush into a deal. It seems like what happened is there was potential for a deal or for talks emerging, and then Israel kind of stepped on it because Israel doesn't want that. Israel doesn't want to make a deal. So now I can't tell exactly where this is at right now, because at first, as Trump tends to do, he announced this as like, the deal's done. You know what I mean? Like, we're already there. And that doesn't seem to be the case. So I don't know exactly, like, where, as of right now, I don't know if this deal is supposed to be going through or not. Let's listen to this dickhead.
It's an international waterway, and what they are doing now is basically they are threatening to destroy commercial vessels using an international waterway. That is illegal under any concept of international law that governs us, but it's also
so now we're talking about international law.
Normal.
Regional offices told the Associated Press Donald Trump told representatives not to rush into a deal. That was after he already said that we essentially have a deal. And then the reporting after that was that Israel was trying to fight this deal as hard as they could. And that seems to have now led to him saying, oh, well, we're not quite ready to make a deal yet. So, I mean, what that means to me is that this deal fell apart before it even started. There was no deal here. And, it was never... It's a tactic on Trump's part. I don't know exactly what the tactic is. It seems like only a tactic to try to make himself look better in the American media, which just doesn't seem to have that much value. Like, it doesn't help make a deal happen faster, and it also doesn't create an advantage on the battlefield, from what I can tell. But it just seems to be that Trump likes to... he likes to try to present a positive narrative about himself, no matter what the reality is. But that's what he's been doing for several years at this point. So there are probably a lot of different factions in Iran claiming to be who to make a deal with. No, I don't think that's the problem. There may be different factions of the government, but I think there's a relatively organized government that they're dealing with, because the succession of the leader that we killed did occur, and then I think there was the leader that came after him that was sworn in had been injured. So I think that was the last we heard about that. But I think America expected this to come to a place where it was like a free for all, and there's all these different factions and groups in Iran that are vying for power that essentially depose the main government and create a more chaotic situation, which would allow America to take control. The fact that that didn't happen is what has thrown all of their plans off the rails and made it so that they don't really know what to do from here. Because with Iran being a coherent state with a coherent government, even being bludgeoned by us, we just don't really have the ability to take control of that land. They can still shut down the Strait of Hormuz, and it doesn't seem like America has the military capacity to sustain an all-out assault long enough to like truly cripple Iran, which is what they went in there saying they were going to do. I think Trump thought that was going to happen in a week or two. And so now they're in a position where the government of Iran is somewhat empowered. I think the people of Iran are behind them, at least to an extent. So what they expected to happen in terms of Iran falling into chaos has just not happened. That's my understanding. I could be wrong on some of the details there. I'm sure there's some factional things happening, but I don't think so. I think they've maintained a pretty coherent leadership structure, and that's one of the things that has, thrown off the United States' approach. Kelly Lovato's straight. What are you saying? You saying that's me? You saying I'm straight? The agreement would not be signed Sunday. People mostly hate the government in Iran. Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I think this is I think they would much rather be run by their government than by the U.S. I think that's pretty much the understanding at this point. And again, I mean, what you're saying about people hating the government there is exactly what the U.S. was depending on, and that has not panned out. So that would imply that there's actually stronger support for the government there than we thought. Certainly there's more nationalism there than we thought in terms of people actually wanting to support their own government versus whatever the fuck America thinks we want to do. Remain in full force in effect until an agreement is reached. That's a blockade of Iranian ports. So that part I don't know about as much, like how much the blockading of their ports is hurting them. So Iran is essentially asserting economic pressure on the entire world by blocking Hormuz, but America has ways around that. So America isn't necessarily crippled oil-wise when it comes to Hormuz, but I think because of what's happening, they have jacked the prices up, which is why the stock market is up. So Americans' access to oil, I don't think, has been as diminished by the Strait of Hormuz being shut down as other countries. And that is why, despite what's happening, the stock for some of these oil companies and the stock market in general is still going up. So that's part of the market manipulation that Trump is partaking in. But that being said, by blockading Iran's ports, we are exerting economic pressure on them. So I think the calculation is that that we do not feel the economic pressure they are exerting as much as the rest of the world does, whereas we can exert economic pressure directly on them. And then you just have a game of chicken. That's essentially all it is. Well, you just want cheap gas? Well, what I'm saying is that probably wouldn't even be fixed by the war being won. What we're seeing here is essentially the same as what we saw after COVID and after Russia invaded Ukraine, which is oil companies gouging. So they gouge on oil prices, especially when they feel like the headlines give them cover to do so. So, in other words, the way to get cheap gas would be to go after the oil companies. Not necessarily, ending this war isn't gonna do that, because it seems to me that American oil companies are gonna continue being able to benefit from this no matter what. That they're set up to do that, and I think that's why Trump has been what is it, bullish or bearish? Whichever one means overly committed. That's why he's been that way on this, because he knows that he can make it so that the oil companies benefit regardless, and that they're going to keep backing him up. That's what I think is happening here. So cheap gas is only going to come once we address the root issue, which is profiteering from oil companies. The root issue of this does not seem to be the Strait of Hormuz being closed, although that does affect oil prices. I don't think that's the reason prices have gone up in America. But someone who knows more about economics could probably school me about that. Merging deal would include Iran giving up uranium cap. See if we can find anything about this supposed fake deal that would be any different from the Iran deal, which we already had. One official with direct knowledge of the negotiation said Iran would give up the uranium, subject to further talks during a 60-day period. Some would likely be diluted, while the rest would be transferred to a third country. Russia has offered to take it. I'm sure they have. U.S. official confirmed the 60-day period. If Iran doesn't give up its stockpile, there will be no sanctions and relief. That was something I saw Scott Jennings say. The official spoke on condition of anonymity. Iran has 440 kilograms. This bullshit about uranium, bro. President, how do you say that? Masoud Pezeshkian told state TV that they're ready to assert to the world that we are not, to assure the world that we are not after a nuclear weapon. Yeah, I mean, a big thing that gets interrupted with this is that enriching uranium is not the same as having a nuclear bomb or having the capacity for a nuclear bomb. And that's a big thing that the U.S. and Israel relies on rhetorically, to say they're a week away from a nuclear bomb, but that's not true. They don't have the infrastructure for a nuclear bomb. Being a week away from enriched uranium is not the same as being a week away from being able to nuke America, which is essentially what they're telling us to justify this. As soon as they launched this war, they were saying, oh, what, you want people to be able to nuke America? You want blah, blah, blah. You want Iran to have a nuclear weapon? Imminent threat, imminent threat. That's what they were saying, so. Okay, I'm bullshit. Should I play some new songs on stream tonight? Maybe I will. Got some things I'm cooking some things. So it looks like rhetorically the concession is emerging on their end, that they, would make some kind of deal on a nuclear weapon. But they're talking about a nuclear weapon. We're talking about enriched uranium. So these are two different concessions to make. Out of here. We'll identify as out of here. Foreign Ministry spokesman Esmail Baghai told the state-run news agency there are narrowing differences between the Iranian and U.S. positions, but Iran is cautious after being attacked twice. Yeah, duh. "12 weeks have passed since the U.S. and Israel attacked Iran. Ceasefire is held, not on the part of Israel. Iran said they wanted to make nukes. That's directly from the government, dude. Dude, when are you talking about? Are you talking about before or now? They've said a lot of things. Trump said he wanted to wipe Iran off the map. Iran said, yes, we want to make nukes. Where are you getting that from? Like when? When do they say that? In what context? Because what I'm saying is right now they're saying we are willing to commit to not having nukes. That's different from enriched uranium. What America is saying is that they're getting close to enriched uranium and saying that's the same as them having a nuke, which is not true. That's a lie. So if they said at one point that they want to build nuclear weapons, they probably did. But that's still not the same as having... I think Iran wants to make energy. You are wrong. That's not what I said. You're about to get muted. Where? Tell me where they said that. I'm not even saying they didn't say that. I'm saying, where are you referring to? Because right now, I'm talking about the deal that is potentially being made. Even if Iran said they wanted to build a nuclear weapon, that's still different from saying that they want to use a nuclear weapon. Because essentially having a nuclear weapon in world politics just means that you're a country that has sovereignty to decide for yourself the fate of your nation. That's essentially what having nuclear weapons means. It's only because of this American and Western assumption that a nation like Iran having nuclear weapons means they're going to nuke everybody. We don't negotiate with terrorists. Okay. You have nothing. You're just saying things. You have no source. There can be no deal. All right, well, I won't make a deal with you either. There can be no deal. So what does that guy want? He just wants to fucking obliterate Iran? Good luck with that. Rubio told India today that the first stage ahead would be the full reopening of the strait. Oh, the second is that Iran needs to enter into serious negotiations on 3 topics. Pledge never to have nuclear weapons, restrictions long-term on their enrichment capabilities, and what to do with the highly enriched uranium. Juicy worm. You're on thin ice. But I think I agree with your sentiment. I saw greater concessions. It's not going to happen. Ismail Bagai told the state-run news, narrowing differences. I already saw that. U.S. would allow Iran to sell its oil through sanctions waivers. This is such garbage, bro. What are you even talking about? 12 weeks have passed since the U.S. and Israel attacked Iran, killing its supreme leader. Read that already. I always get mixed up on these articles when I'm reading them on stream. U.S. officials said the deal would guarantee Israel's right to act against immigrant threats in self-defense. What does that mean? Any final agreement with Iran must eliminate nuclear danger. Man, that is so non-specific. Any final agreement with Iran must eliminate nuclear danger. That's a lot different from saying... That's different from saying that they can't have a nuclear weapon. That's a completely different statement. And this is why, essentially, it seems like Israel and Netanyahu got in the way of this deal having more momentum, because they obviously don't want it. They don't want to end this war because they have different intentions than America has. America's intentions are... I don't fucking know what America's intentions are. Whatever Israel wants, I guess, which is why this deal falls apart as soon as Israel expresses their concern. What I don't understand is how did this deal start getting made in the first place? If they know that they're trying to get it through, if they know that they're trying to get around the fact that Israel doesn't want to do this, then why would they just allow the deal to collapse the second Israel finds out about it? Isn't the whole point that like eventually Israel is going to find out about it? And wouldn't you want to set this up in a way that the deal would go through anyway, and that you're not going to suddenly have people like Netanyahu popping up and being like, well, actually, we have to advise a lot of caution on this issue. Democrats, Republicans, they're all the same. I don't agree. I get where you're coming from, but there's reason to believe that every previous president, which would be all Democratic ones, including George Bush and like the modern era, was pressured by Israel to do this same thing, and none of them did it. Obama actually created an agreement with Iran so that this wouldn't happen. We entered into a deal to prevent them from getting a nuclear weapon, and that prevented this. Israel has always hated that deal. So the reason Trump ripped that up is because, which is something he did in his first term, is because Trump is a lot more cucked, as many of the conservatives would say, to Israel than any Democratic president we've ever seen. And I mean, that's including Joe Biden, who destroyed his reputation as president to carry out and help carry out the genocide that they wanted to carry out. Trump appears to even be more less hesitant to go along with Israel than that, because apparently Israel wanted to do this same exact thing during Biden's administration, and he said no. So of all the things he let them do, he would not follow them into war with Iran, which Obama also was faced with the same possibility. Whereas in the past 3 Republican presidencies, we have launched these type of wars. Obama continued to facilitate it, for sure. Biden facilitated the genocide in Israel, which he did not have to do, for sure. But Republicans are the ones who consistently escalate our involvement in the Middle East and tell us that this is something that has to happen. And it is always everyone else that is left to clean up the bag. So I don't like Democrats either. I want to see a version of Democrats that are not going to commit a genocide just because it's politically inconvenient to try to stop it. But I disagree that they're the same. I think what we're seeing right now is fundamentally different. I think we're seeing a president of America that does not really have the ability to tell Israel no. And as much as Biden was in a similar position, he seems to have told Israel no in ways that Trump hasn't. Now, that being said, things were at a different stage when Biden was in office, and, it would be 100% accurate to say that Biden cleared the way for Trump to do what he's doing now, and that it's all, like, in some ways I understand the argument that they're all the same, they all do the same things, and in a way it's because, like, that's the direction of the pressure of the world. Like, there's a reason that Israel is pressing the United States to do this in Iran, and has been for a long time. And it's not because Iran's going to get a nuclear weapon or they're global sponsor of terror or whatever. It's because Israel wants to control the flow of resources in that area. And they don't want to have to deal with the fact that Iran is close to them and is an enemy. So inevitably that pressure is going to be placed on any Democrat or Republican who is in office. And that's why you see Obama was pressured to do something about Iran and Israel. Biden was pressured to deal with this, and it ended up ruining his fucking presidency, his making concessions to Israel, allowing them to do what they want with American weapons. So the conduct is slightly different. That's all I can say. I mean, Biden, he facilitated these wars like Ukraine and like Israel and Gaza, the latter of which I think is much worse in terms of our involvement. But, Republicans seem a lot more willing to just send people over, drop bombs, kill people, kill children, kill whoever we can kill. That's the Republican MO. And I can at least say that Democrats don't do that as directly. They may be willing to facilitate it, but I wouldn't say that they're exactly equal in their approach to things like this. What I want to know is what Israel said about this. I don't know how much rapping I'm going to do on this one. Democrats go around killing Charlie Kirks. My question to you is, have you ever tried to use any of the brain cells that you have? You have at least a few. Have you ever tried to think a thought with those brain cells? Because that's something you can do. I don't know if you know that, but you can think about things. You can decide if they make sense. Like, you could think about what I just said, and then you could think about what you said, and you could realize that those two things don't connect at all. And what you said doesn't make any sense. You could think that for yourself instead of me having to explain it to you. But that's your choice. That is your choice. 60 days to iron out a longer-term agreement, according to a senior Trump administration official. The deal is reached to end the war and reopen the strait, alleviating the global energy crisis. It will be a lengthy and complex process. Seeing an early morning social media post on Monday that the yet-to-be-unveiled deal will be the exact opposite. Deal with Iran will either be great and meaningful one, or there will be no deal. It will be the exact opposite of the deal by Obama, which is a direct path to a nuclear weapon for Iran. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. A lot more randoms in the chat than usual today. No, I don't do deals like that. Obama reached the touchstone. Majority Report got hyped in your chat the other day. In my chat? That's cool. I'll have to check that out. They reposted me. I saw that. I didn't see them in the chat. That was during the premiere. You saw them in the chat? Socialism for the world. One day. Thanks for watching. Trump administration out of the league. Entire world laughing at them. Yeah, the entire world's laughing at us, unfortunately. I don't know what the resolution of this is. What I'm wondering is if, like, is the off-ramp there for Trump in this instance, or is it completely fake? Because when he initially said there's a deal, blah, 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 it's like, the first thing that happened on the Iranian end was they came out to say that, don't listen to Trump. We're not listening to Trump when it comes to what he's saying about this. So I don't know. I think it's just media manipulation. I don't think there's any deal coming. You gave the dab emoji. Hell yeah. Much love. Hell yeah, juicy. I'll have to check the chat recap. I'm usually not there in the chat while things are premiering. I just drop that shit and go about my day. Call on the GOAT Obama. What, you want Obama to run for president again? Or deal with this Iran situation? No. That is not the solution. Although I will say, whoever comes into power on the Democratic side next, this is one of the few issues where it might make sense to consult Obama. Specifically, the issue of Iran, not the issue of Israel. Because Trump was better on Iran than he was with Israel. Like, he made a deal with Iran that Israel didn't like. And that's kind of what you got to do. So, on that aspect, I think he would be, like, he pulled that off. So it would be worth seeking his advice on that. In terms of Israel, it would not be worth seeking his advice. I wonder what kind of thoughts Obama has about Netanyahu. Behind the scenes, secret thoughts. Alright, should I rap again? What beat should I do? Do I think Obama would endorse Kamala? You mean like in a primary? I mean, if she was running for real, he would definitely endorse her. I think Obama would endorse Bernie Sanders if he was, like, running in the general. Would he endorse her in a primary? Probably, yeah. She would probably end up being the candidate that he would endorse. Her or, like, Gavin Newsom. He definitely wouldn't endorse her early. Because in Kamala's first run for president, she flopped, like, immediately. So, like, people remember that. You know, I'm sure Obama knows that. She has not had a good history with running national campaigns. She ran some good campaigns in California. But, you know, so if she gets most of the way through the primary and seems like she's doing well and is a real contender with a strong platform, maybe not even with a strong platform, then Obama, I think, would endorse her. But he would not preemptively endorse her over other candidates unless it became a situation like it was with Biden and Bernie and the rest of the centrists in the 2020 election, where Obama had to get involved and endorse Biden and try to get everybody else to do the same so that Bernie would lose. So in that situation, Obama would definitely step in, but not before. Three Stooges world laughing at them. I don't know what the negotiations are that are happening. I think Iran is just completely not taking it seriously. But like, they do have an incentive to put a stop to this. As much as they are still in control of the situation, like, they still also have to absorb the damage from this. They're absorbing a lot more damage from it than we are, for sure. So like, they can't, maybe they're making the calculation that they can just hold out, but they can't do that forever. But the other thing too is that when it comes to American politics, all these other countries know that, like, if they have an issue with a certain president, all they got to do is wait it out. You wait fucking 3 years and you're dealing with a completely different person. So obviously with Trump, you don't know who that is, but I do think, or you don't know if that's what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen in the next election. Probably we're going to end up with some other president after 2028. Maybe not. Maybe somehow something crazy will happen. But I think in general, you know, somebody like in Israel, I think that's genuinely how they look at American presidents. Or I think it was Putin who said something about that, like, you know, I don't know, I've dealt with like 4 of these motherfuckers, you know, it's just like a rotating cast, so they're really not in power that long to establish like that strong of a governmental approach. Honestly, it's one of the major weaknesses of America. I think countries like Russia and Iran look at that as a major weakness of America, because even with Obama, like, Obama got this deal, you know, kind of stabilized the country in some ways, and then he gets out of office and all of that immediately gets torn apart. It's like, that's not stability. They'll wait it out. Yeah, you're probably right. You're right about that. I don't know that support from China and Russia is going to be enough to get them through, because it depends on what that means. China and Russia are not going to support them to the extent that it draws them into a conflict with America. Neither of them want that. You know, maybe in some situation they would do it, but you know, there's going to be a limit to how much China and Russia want to support Iran in a situation like this. They will do it, but what exactly that looks like, we don't know. Doesn't mean that Iran is not going to sustain damage from it. But you're right. I mean, they have backing, so they probably feel like they can rebuild or whatever. All right. Yeah. I was gonna write down a bunch of words, and then I didn't write any down. How do I listen to so many podcasts? I listen to everything I can. I might not listen to as much as you think. I'm not constantly monitoring like every single podcast out there, but I just pay attention to what people are talking about, and I pay attention to when there's crossover. That's really what it is I look for those crossover moments. So I'm not watching, you know, Tim Dillon, for example. I don't watch every fucking episode of his podcast that he does. I don't care about him that much. But when there's a crossover, when he does an interview with somebody or goes on somebody else's show, that's when I'll check it out to see what's being said. Or when there's a notable comment that is made about somebody else, that's when it catches my attention. Nobody respects Trump negotiators. Yeah, they kind of have no choice but to respect them, though. I mean, they may not respect them literally, but they also, like, these people do hold a lot of power over, like, the fate of the situation. That is not lost on them. Yeah. Yeah, this Trump-Iran deal is not real. I'm kind of feeling like it's the same thing. It's a raw deal. And we keeps going in the same direction, never changing, it keeps flowing. This thing was inevitable because Israel wanted it, and we're all knowing that they have too much influence over American politics, and it just keeps the whole thing going, keeps the wheel moving. Fucking machine of destruction, killing children. Anyone in its way is gonna turn into swill then, and fuel for the machine it's used to kill them and their family. Familiar ties, doesn't matter, turns into terrorists and terrorism in the eyes of the Western imperialism. And that's the disguise that we use to put bombs and drones in the skies of people that we used to have peaceful relations with, but then using our imperial instincts tore it apart and shit and made something explosive happen that didn't need to, because it's beneficial to Netanyahu and benefits them to not have to be the only ones to be involved in this fucking shit show that we're now all dragged to and have to watch and have to pretend that we're not aware of and not paying attention to, but all are paying sense to. And essentially you are part of it like I am, and a pardon is not going to be enough to get through all the partisan hacks that are putting the parts together and making a spark of it. And honestly, the spark in my mind is turning to art, but I'm not sure if this is something that I can artfully pick apart, or if this is something I want to be a part of, or if it's a day at the park, or something that's gonna be a big leap like parkour. And really the start for, I'm just trying to fill out the form so I can get to where I need to go. Not sure if I want to stay planted in the soil in the US, but not sure if there's anywhere to go. I mean, it's terrifying and it's terrible, but the aerial view 360, not sure if it can see anything distantly. The future is bleak for me, but I'm just trying to keep myself going through this blitzkrieg and count my blessings and trying to do the right thing and say the right things at the right time and try to hit the right vein. I mean, I might be going insane, but I'm sure that I'm tightening my grip, and the listeners that are listening are finding themselves within this, and this is something that I can make some headway on. But the forward thinking is only worth something if people grab onto it and start to go the distance with it. And of course this is something that's gonna be a course that picks us apart and makes a course. It's not smooth, it's something that we're gonna have to do and find new grooves. And of course the new future is being created. This is the time of monsters struggling for their existence, last gasping breath before their death on all our dishes, wiping them off like the scum that they are. Down the sink it goes, and of course the sinking feeling that we're all feeling is a part of this, part of the experience. And I've experienced things like this before, but now it's bleak as it gets, and I'm just trying to make sure the leaks and the leaks that come through actually go to where they're supposed to. But of course the function is to keep us all confused and all wrapped in a disc that just keeps repeating like it's skipped on the 1-2. And what would you do if you were the one in power, had the power to turn the levers, but only if you were to shock the shit out yourself and possibly lose some of your selfish credentials with the people that got you in power? Every politician has to face the same things. What are you gonna actually do when all the biggest problems in the world are sitting on your desk in front of you and getting bitched and hitched to Israel like every other American president has been? But this uniquely blackmailable president that we have in office is causing disastrous results for all of us and taking as much as he can out of the coffers with nothing to offer us. And this is what people wanted, got served up, and people voted for it because they were thinking that it wouldn't be awful enough. And what I'm wondering is how much deeper we can go, how much blundering can we be taking before we're torn asunder. And the thundering is coming out the window, I can see it once again, come again. Can't hear the message, it's not coming through the headphones. I'm just trying to sneak some shit in that maybe they can see, but the sequencing is kind of getting a little choppy, a little skipped. Hope you need to review the frames again in the viewfinder, but if you find the time that you can really entwine yourself with what's going on, that you might have to chime in, cause there's only so much time in. That's one of the blessings that we have, is the ability to use our mind and our words and put it together and maybe make some time in trying to get where we need to go. Organize, and it's not as difficult as people make it out to be, but really the fucking thing that I'm trying to let rain out in me, I mean, there's a fucking light that's going out in me, and I'm sure the doubt in me is something that's never gonna stop. But really the clout that I speak is not something that the clouds are gonna part for, but I'm trying to tear it apart. And this is something that I'm gonna come back for, no matter how many parts, 4 or more. I've got a lot for the fucking score, not gonna settle it until it's settled for real, for sure. And that's what they're telling us about Iran, that they haven't made enough fucking concessions on the deals. But really I'm thinking they're talking about a different table than they're even at. they're not serious about the fact that they have no leverage, not as much as they thought. Because ultimately Iran has the cards, because they've got the biggest leverage point of all. Strait of Hormuz got us all by the balls, and America can kind of continue on with our oil sales, and the oil magnates in our country are just jacking the profits up to take as much coin as they can while this is happening, and they've got cover of the news, and people are gonna buy the price, is gonna pay it at the pump, because they understand that we're at war with Iran and it just has to happen, and they're not gonna refuse to pay them. And that's the logic of American capitalists. You charge as much as you can, and especially if there's a crisis you can take advantage of and get in there and blame. Make as much profit as possible, especially with a crook like Trump that's gonna let you off the hook. And most presidents are the same way. As long as you give them a pat on the back, then they'll have you on it. And honestly, if you read one book, you'll see that there's no stopping this. This is the same trend of history that we've been seeing, only minor shifts, but that minor shift leads to exponential differences that really shape the lane and shape the way. But the way we're going, it's all seeming the same, and it seems like we need some radical change, and someone who has some actual radical opinions and a way to put it together, a framework that might not go the same way as the rest of this bullshit that we're saying. What are they saying? I mean, I'm staying in my lane. I'm trying to reach out it, see if I'm reaching people, but I doubt it. Yeah, trying to be clouded, but I'm only seeing the rain of power that leaks out it. The other thing I wanted to talk about was JB, my bad. I didn't mean to hide you. I was trying to hide somebody else. My bad, JB. You good? JDB. That looks like your name. Got banned from Alive for saying Trump has been a scammer all his life. Whose live was that? Feels like that should be pretty standard, right? That's understood at this point. People really will keep deluding themselves about that. Even though I see a lot of these right wingers now that are coming to that conclusion again because they feel scammed. And I saw Megyn Kelly say something today about how, like, oh, Trump has cheated on every wife that he's had. And it's like, yeah, dude, we fucking know that. Like, people were saying that in 2016. And all of a sudden, you have right-wingers saying, like, he's a con man. He's a cheater. This guy doesn't represent conservative values. Like, yeah, dude, no shit. We literally all knew all that. None of that is new. But again, like I said, it's because they're the ones who feel scammed now. At least some of them. Apparently, some people still support. You know, I think the support for Trump is going to remain pretty strong. That's always the pattern that we've seen. So, someone in military suit, or wake him up. I wonder what's going on with the military guys. I work with some military guys. Not really, like, I don't know, like young Marine types, like former Marines or whatever. And, you know, I don't think they're too thrilled about this. A lot of those type of dudes are into that, like, Epstein type of shit, like, meaning, like, that's their understanding of politics. That, like, everybody, all the people in power are, like, you know, baby killers or whatever. Like, that's kind of the popular understanding. And I feel like a lot of these more reactionary military types, they do believe that. But they wouldn't necessarily come to the conclusion that you mentioned before, that Trump is like a scammer. You're talking about Trump, his sex life is none of our business? Would you say the same thing about Bill Clinton? I mean, I agree that Trump's sex life is none of our business. I don't give a fuck about that. But the point is that he doesn't represent any of the values that he ran on and won on. And the point is that people are just now realizing that. Like, people have been saying that since the beginning of Trump ever being a politician, which is what makes him a con man. He's able to make people believe that he actually stands for something, or that he believes in anything, but he doesn't. And, you know, if you keep falling for that over and over again, that's your problem. But the most recent thing that has made people realize that he just contradicts himself is the stuff with the war. He specifically said he was not going to do a war with Iran when he ran. and he lied about that. It was a scam. So if you're too dumb if you are too dumb to understand that that's a scam, that's fine. He was in the Oval Office. Oh, so that's what makes it matter. It's okay if you love getting screwed by Trump over and over again. It's okay if you like that. But it just makes you look like a cuck to everyone around you. It makes you look like someone who doesn't have any beliefs, any principles, that sort of thing. That's not really the kind of thing I would expect a Trump supporter to care about that much. So, not surprised that you don't. I'll put it that way. Who's cucks, Richard? Trump tards. Okay, you're good with me. Pensions from Harvard. Yeah, the amount of theft, bro. The amount of theft that Trump has engaged in is fucking crazy. Like, just so much stealing of tax money. And like, that's what people wanted. That's the ideology that Trump believes in. He believes that he, as a private individual, should be able to go into government and just rob the taxpayer, give all that money away to corporations, you know, completely fucking screw the tax system over. He believes he should not have to pay taxes his entire life. And then be able to steal from the tax system. That's the ideology. Trump should be able to make infinite money and no one should have anything to say about it. And anybody who's willing to help him with that political project is going to, he'll just do what they want. So that's why, Sherry, I need you really to understand this. That's why Trump is taking us to war in Iran. Because Israel and that political faction is the one that will uphold his corruption. And he knows that that lobby and those people who want to facilitate this war in Iran will help him if he ever has to face consequences for the theft and the treason and all the laws that he breaks and all the horrible things that he does on an international level as president. So he needs that support. He needs the support of factions that are going to defend him for inevitable accountability for his crimes. So that's why he's doing something that is the opposite of what he told his voters he would do. He went to war in Iran, which is the opposite of what he told you he would do. And the reason is because the only thing he believes in is his own wealth and his own corruption. And Israel is willing to facilitate that. Jan Sixer promised some of the slush fund to silence his victims. Yeah, I mean, the slush fund thing is fucking crazy. That's the best example. But then a lot of these right-wingers aren't even gonna, they don't even see a problem with that. Because to them, it's like, they view themselves as getting a piece of that, even if they're not going to. It's like, oh, well, that's going to people like me. Over the world, inflation, both are ridiculous for normal people. Yeah. Man, it's a lot more troll types in the chat this time. I usually don't get that. I think this stream is reaching a little bit more people this time. Insane, dude. You talking about the slush fund? Is that what you're responding to? Or are you saying I'm insane? I'm crazy. I'm crazy. What's up, Ashley? I'm talking shit about Trump in here. Is that a problem for you? Okay. You're out of here. Pardon folks who stole. Yeah. Steal from Medicare. I mean, he pardoned someone who stole from his own supporters. He pardoned Steve Bannon for literally defrauding his own supporters. Steve Bannon is all fucking over the Epstein files, like the number one person in the Epstein files, aside from Trump, is fucking Steve Bannon, and they still listen to this dude. Brutal facts. Brutal facts. That fact was brutal, bro. Can't handle these brutal facts you're bringing into my chat. Donaldo, talking about Trump? Or is that a soccer player? That sounds like a soccer player. Let's see if I can find an article about Hasan Piker being subpoenaed. If I drop another freestyle about Hasan, people are gonna lose their shit, bro. And be like, this is the guy who raps about Hasan all the time. Don't want to read the Fox News article. I don't know if we're as close to civil war as people think, but it's definitely going in that direction. I'm in the Epstein files? Wow. Well. The amount of parallels with the Nazi regime is unreal. American the Republicans are the speedrunning 1930 Germany. Yeah, I agree. I think the speedrunning part is the part that's going to make it not work, but we'll see. Yeah, he misspelled his own name. Yeah, no, we don't fuck with Trump in this chat, Ashley. So the thing with Hasan is that they are saying that he got subpoenaed. Fox News dropped an article saying that he got subpoenaed. But as of right now, it seems like no actual subpoena has manifested itself. So the question is, did Fox News get out ahead of themselves on that and there is no subpoena? Or did they just know about it? Because neither of the people that were supposedly subpoenaed, Piker and Medea Benjamin, who is the founder of this Code Pink, which is the one that facilitated the trip to Cuba, neither of them have actually been subpoenaed. So Fox News announced that they were being subpoenaed, and that actually didn't happen. So far, it hasn't happened. Seek financial, logistical, and communications information revolving around trips the two widely bragged about making the island. Delegations from a global network of communist sympathizers. What is this shit? So many right-wing outlets now, man, that just pose as like normal, balanced outlets. The boomer brain, the boomer mind is not equipped to deal with the political landscape that we are entering into. That generation just has to die out, bro, because they're not prepared to discern things at the level that they're going to have to. What's up, Tory Story? Found himself at the center of another major online curse. I don't know if this is a major online controversy. I think this might be a little deeper than that.
Starting a yard project soon? Before you dig, remember that
starting a yard project soon? Shit, if I could. How do I mute that shit? Where's that coming from?
This marks the fourth.
Right owns the media, but the right still complains. You worked for Kamala Harris? That's cool. Not my favorite thing, but that's cool. Better than working for Trump. Like you worked for her campaign? Or you actually worked for her? That would be kind of cool, actually, if you worked for her at some point. Robert Suttard's 2020. Poop emoji. You got something on your mind? Outta here. Outta here. We ain't hearing that shit. Communist sympathizers.
While everyone's talking about the high cost...
These fucking ads. Fuck off. Where are these ads coming from?
Family, good food, and good vibe. And the chef of the family, so it's game time. Luckily, I partnered with PayPal to help out with items like this expensive grill. For this, I'm going to use PayPal's Pay Later feature. Breaking this down into 4 payments, checking out with less stress. Once everything came together, I put...
And the other interesting thing about this, yes, campaign and saying that the some security threats. What does that mean? America is indeed misogynistic. Bro, the news is so right wing, bro. It's bad because the liberal hold on the media has virtually collapsed at this point, which was the only thing preventing it from being just completely right wing. There was never any left wing representation in American media, but now it's just completely reactionary garbage. Like I can't find any good article about this. Looks like TMZ might be the first one to get it actually right. So, Twitch streamer Hasan Piker served federal subpoena over Cuba trip. That's not true. And that was published over like 24 hours ago almost. reportedly been subpoenaed. He says that he has not received any subpoena. Left has outplayed their cards, maybe? I disagree with that. Look like the clowns they are. Harris couldn't even put a sentence together. What's wrong with you? Sherry, do you support the war in Iran? You're weeks ahead. That's interesting. But Vanessa, she liked that. She liked that when he said they're eating the dogs and the cats. But then again, back to the scam of it. So he went on stage and he said they're eating the cats and the dogs and we're going to do something about it. And then he hasn't done shit about it. So all that was lies, because the people he was talking about in Minnesota that were Somalians that were eating the cats, no, that was in Ohio. So ICE hasn't even touched Ohio yet. They said they were going to, but they never did. That was in Yellow Springs. And most of the people that they were talking about there are citizens, because they were brought here legitimately through U.S. programs that benefit the U.S. Like, not people who entered in the border or came over on a boat or something, but people that, like, we facilitated them coming here because of what was happening where they were from. What was that for? Haitians. That's what it was in Yellow Springs. So it's like he just lied. So even if you like what he went on stage when he went on stage and was like, they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs, it's like that was literally just bullshit so that you would vote for him. He has not done anything about that. He hasn't solved shit. He was lying to you. But they don't care. That's when they just default to Harris this, Harris that. Pakistan is more for Iran, right? So they will support Iran more in their news. Not saying it's fake or bad news, since I don't know what they are saying. What news sources in Pakistan are you getting your news from? I'm interested in that. I would like to get more international news in my media diet. Consequence of running Haiti on their behalf. Consequence of running Haiti. You mean it's a consequence of America running Haiti? Served request for information. Investigators are reportedly examining. So where did this come from? This seems to have purely come from tips within the administration that have not led to an actual subpoena. Post about the trip online. So the thing that's really interesting about this is that one of the things that they're saying online is that Hasan went to a hotel in Cuba that's sanctioned. But that's actually not true. He went to a fancier hotel in Cuba that is not one of the ones that's sanctioned, meaning that it's a hotel that he's allowed to go to. So people were complaining that he went to a ritzier hotel there, but he went to one of the ones that was legit. Somebody who did not is Nick Shirley. When Nick Shirley went to his trip in Cuba, he did not clear it with the government. He did not have the right paperwork. And he also went to a sanctioned hotel, which is illegal by U.S. law. So Hasan did it much more by the books than he did, even though Hasan went to do pro-Cuba work, aid work, and also doing a documentary specifically highlighting America's effect on Cuba's economy. So that's the issue that they have with Hasan going there, is that the idea that Hasan would go to Cuba and try to promote, a non-pro-America angle, not do what Nick Shirley did. They're not going to go after Nick Shirley, because what Nick Shirley was trying to do is highlight the poverty and say, this is what happens when communism. Hasan wasn't doing that. Hasan was saying there are real structural problems here. A lot of them come back to sanctions and purposeful economic pressure from the United States. And that's the type of message that is viewed as a threat. But because they did it by the books, I don't think they really have anything on them. And I don't even know that this subpoena is real. So much of what comes out of this fucking administration is just not real. People in own country, we back. Devil's favorite spawn. What's up, Lunta? I'm sure foreigners not always improved word. Yeah, you literally just can't listen to Trump. And you also, it's increasingly becoming so that you can't listen to like any of these subsidiary outlets at all. Fox News is the one that originally put this out. And it just seems like they have nothing. The other interesting thing is that there's this picture of his dog walker that they took, which seems to show that the leash that the dog has, the collar that the dog has, is not the shock collar they were saying it is, but it's rather a more tame vibration collar. So TMZ or Fox News obtained an image showing that. With his dog walker was the one who had it. So it's just interesting. That and the Nick Shirley thing, it's like, yet again, they're trying to inflate Hasan into more of a threatening figure than he is, and it's really just backfiring. They're kind of making him look better, and they're also sort of disproving certain narratives about him in the meantime, and bringing attention to things like the fact that Nick Shirley went to a fucking illegal hotel by American standards when he went to Cuba. Faux News is a Zionist propaganda machine? Yeah, I mean, they all are. Now, that's an interesting question. I wonder how much of the right has completely discredited Fox News right now because of their support for Israel. That's something I've actually never asked myself. Because, like, on the left, you see almost complete discreditation of the New York Times, the Washington Post, because of their consistent support for Israel. And the right is coming to think very much the same way in terms of, even though it's closer to anti-Semitism and more open in their anti-Semitism, they are also like, you know, they have that sense that some of the information that's being given to them is more about favoring Israel than America. And so I just wonder if that's affecting, I guess Fox News didn't have a lot of younger viewers, and that's who is changing their mind about Israel. The older viewers of Fox are not. Okay, not with the Jewish propaganda. Fuck out of here with that. It's not about Jews, it's about Zionism. There's a difference between that. I would say that Zionism hurts Judaism. What is DIA? Certain history from people because it doesn't align with the Talmud. Yeah, I don't know about all that. Zionist canard. That's false. There's definitely such thing as anti-Semitism. You're on thin ice, Tipu. You're about to get banned. I don't fuck with some anti-Semitism in this chat. I don't fuck with Zionism either. But if you're gonna come in here being anti-Semitic, you're gonna get yeeted. MAGA boomers think Fox News is gospel. Yeah, and they're the ones who are probably still on it, right? They're still like probably 100% for it. Anti-BB. I would say I'm pretty much anti-Israel at this point. Like I would support the dissolution of Israel as a state, but that's not the same as hating Jewish people. Although some people would say it is. Plenty of people would call me anti-Semitic for that, but I would stand by that opinion. But I don't tie it to the Jewish faith at all. Yeah, they think Trump is a messiah. That's true. I don't know that anybody actually thinks that. I mean, some fucking crazy people think that for sure. I don't think there's that many of them that think that. I think a lot of the people on the right are going along with what they know is a productive project, which is the Trump project. Zionist is the belief that Jews have a right to the quote-unquote Jewish homeland, which is what we consider Israel now, Jerusalem, and essentially all of the land of Palestine. Zionists believe that they have the mandate of God to go and take that land back, and that Jews should be the ones who live on that land. So that is why we see a genocide of Palestinians, the people who rightfully live in that land and have lived in that land for the last 1,000 years at least. But because Zionists believe that they have the mandate of God, or at least believe that they, have the right to push Palestinians out because Jewish people have been oppressed throughout history, they believe that the rights of Palestinians and Arabs are lesser than theirs. and they are willing to do whatever it takes to take that land. So Zionism is just it's just a colonial project. Okay, I'm done. See, if you're gonna be in here talking about Balfour and shit, you're not even spelling it right. So you just need to shut the fuck up. This is not about religious narratives. And the Zionism thing, and tying in with God and saying that God gave them the right to that land, that is the problem. And I agree that anyone who believes on a religious level that what Israel's doing in Palestine is morally righteous because of God, that is an atrocious problem. But the fundamental issue is colonialism. It's not anybody's spiritual orientation, and nothing about Judaism requires or even requests of people to behave the way that Zionists are currently behaving in Gaza, Palestine, and Lebanon. And any religion, you could find something in the text that says this justifies holy war against somebody else. Every single religion has done that. And it's why just fundamentally religion is a terrible thing to base your politics off of. Covertly political, overtly political acts like the coup and dead presidents prescient now that politics has taken over everything. Oh yeah, I mean, I would argue that hip-hop, it has always been overtly political, not covertly. It became more covert because essentially how I would put it is that hip-hop became a popular genre in the more sort of like partying style. But as more people in New York and then some on the West Coast got access to being able to release music, it became more conscious and it became more about the black struggle. And so that became extremely popular. And everything from Mobb Deep to, which was later in the 90s, to NWA, which was very overtly political, fuck the police and whatnot. That was the first spark of what came to be called gangsta rap, of like the true cultural power of hip hop, which was not just popular songs that were danceable and had rapping, but songs that really cut against like structures of racism and things that the white people didn't want to be on the airwaves. But because the songs were so popular, like Fuck the Police, there was nothing that those structures could do to limit the popularity of those music, and it became a real problem. And so I think over the years, the mainstream has filtered out messages like that in favor of more commercial messaging, and that is the point that we're at now. So, is the political hip-hop of yesteryear more relevant today? Yeah, absolutely. But it was exactly as relevant then, and honestly, it was incredibly popular then too. It was not covertly political, although I get what you're saying by saying that. You're not in the wrong for saying that, but I would argue that hip-hop has always been political first. And only the stuff over the last 20 years or so, the stuff that is not political is the stuff that has been pushed to the mainstream. Using their God as an excuse to do what they do is what every religion does. Yes, I agree with you just saying hi. Money took the politics out of hip-hop. Yeah, agree with that. That's the one reason they probably didn't like certain rap, wanted to control them. Yes. Strangling contracts. Groups and certain individuals. Yeah, I mean, hip-hop has been heavily censored, obviously. Hip-hop was kind of on the forefront of censorship. I mean, I read once that, like, I would have to read up on this to know if it's true, but I have it in my brain for some reason that NWA and that era of music is why they started putting the parental advisory on music, because it created this cultural problem where all of a sudden you had incredibly popular music that was saying fuck the police and want to kill me because I'm brown and some shit that was worse than that. They were going in the NWA era. They were saying some wild shit, and it was super popular. And so they had to decide, the FCC and fucking the government in power at the time, as well as local radio stations, had to figure out how to deal with that fact, and parents had to figure out how to deal with the fact that their kids were relating to this music, this thing that they didn't understand at all. They didn't understand these messages. They didn't understand why it was having the impact it was having. Fuck the police. Why would anyone say that? But it's like, you know, that it was the first spark of something that was undeniably popular. All that being said, there's still a lot of really good political hip-hop now. It is less popular. I would say hip-hop is more covertly political now, whereas it was overtly political up until the 2000s. Since then, it has been covertly political. Maybe that's more so what you meant. Yes was a huge influence for the parental advisory stamp. Yes. Is that a group? Yes. Am I missing something? I see the same problem in Mexico, Korea. Those are the equivalent of hip-hop gang music celebrating narcos and shit. Yeah, but you know what? Even that, I've come to have... I don't necessarily feel... Some people feel like the drug stuff and like drug dealer stuff in hip-hop is like a psyop, right? Like to try to keep the black community down. I don't even really agree with that. I think it's the same exact thing. I think it is something that is incredibly culturally powerful to a degree that kind of can't be controlled. It's not political in the same way, but it is a reflection of what the streets are up to. And the reason that hip hop has always been popular, back to the NWA era and to the hip hop, the hippie, all of it, everything about it has always been about, this is what the streets are doing. This is what people in these fucking inner city neighborhoods that are being neglected are doing with themselves. And that is the reason it has cultural power, because it's good music and it's incredibly creative, but also you have all these people in the suburbs who just know nothing about that, and they might be kind of racist, or they have racist narratives in their heads, and then all of a sudden, you know, the airwaves are being flooded with this black music that's not soul, and it's not appealing to some sensibility of like, you know, this is respectable music, but it's doing the opposite. And so I have come to appreciate trap music and that sort of thing a lot more, because it's that same cultural force of like, this is what we're up to. We're only doing this because we have to. People, you want to make it, you want to put somebody who is, you know, destined to be rich, or feels that they're destined to be rich, in a situation where the only thing they can do is prostitute women and sell drugs. That's what they're going to do. And I think that has been the story of hip hop, that like you have a lot of people who went from nothing to something because they felt they were destined for greatness, and they were going to do it through any means necessary. And that's, you know, something I respect about hip hop, and it is unfortunately intimately tied with crime and drugs and hustling and doing a lot of dirty shit. Two Live Crew and Luke are imitating life, vice versa. Watched a documentary about Tupac. Said up a few times and how he looked at cops. I always admire for standing up against it. Tupac was a real motherfucker, man. He got off for shooting two undercover cops. I think Slim Shady alone should have been enough to make music producers label their music with a parental. What do you mean by that? Because he was. All of Eminem's music was labeled with parental advisory. Anticon? No, Anticon's not around anymore. I think they broke up. I think there was some drama between, I don't know that much about Anticon, but what is it, like Dose One? And then there was isn't there another guy? And then I think that there's some drama there. One of those guys is not around anymore, I don't think. But I think the other one, it might be Dose One, is still releasing stuff. But I don't, as somebody who never followed Anticon that much, when I hear about them, I hear kind of vague reference to some type of drama or something as to why they're not around. But I believe one of the two, maybe Dose One, is still active. Should I rap again? What do you guys think? This stream is cruising towards 1,000 views, so I probably will stay on until it gets there. Anticon is like an old underground group, underground abstract hip-hop group. Not that old, it's from like the 2000s era underground abstract hip-hop type of stuff. I haven't listened to much of it, honestly, so I don't know what it sounds like. I've been told that I sound Anticon-ish in my flow, so it's got that kind of like underground abstract type of thing. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah, Eminem was a very interesting era in the whole, push and pull between the FCC and hip-hop music. It was almost kind of a culmination of the whole thing, because Eminem was this white rapper who was challenging that system and saying a lot worse things than rappers had ever said before, and yet was almost more culturally accepted than a lot of, people like NWA or Snoop Dogg or Tupac, who were frankly much less shocking than Eminem, but were more scary because they came from black culture, and they came from this impression that like people are up to scary things in the hood, and you can't let that influence you, and you can't like allow yourself to think about it too long. And that's really the threat to American culture that hip-hop represents. So while Eminem was like one of the most controversial to ever do it in hip-hop, he also became a household name in a way that other rappers had to fight for a lot more, in my opinion. Although I suppose that's up for debate. All right, what topic should I rap about on this next beat? Talk about Cuba. After I rap, I'm gonna rap on this beat, and then I'll probably like make a beat, because I got this new. Look at this little thing I got, Luntha. You'll probably appreciate this. This is like a little fucking little MPD MIDI controller. This thing is dope, dude. It's Bluetooth, so I can play this without any wire. I can just hold it and fucking play beats with it. It's not the best. Slight latency, not the most sensitive with the pads. But yeah, definitely a lot of rappers agree on that. I guess I feel like you could also argue that Eminem also had to fight very hard for that legitimacy, but he got over that hump in a way that people like Tupac and Biggie like still haven't. You know what I mean? Eminem was allowed to be a pop star in a way that most rappers before him never were, and after him weren't. Want me to rap over a country beat? I've done stuff like that before. It's called the Pad Pocket, M-Wave Pad Pocket. It was like $35, dude. Got this shit cheap as hell. You can find it on a few different websites, I think. Because he's white people could relate to him, even though it wasn't a race thing, it was a poverty thing. But then again, you need a white face for some people to understand. That's 100% true, yes. And the way he went about rap music was very much geared towards white America. It was telling a white American story more than it was telling a, black American story. Although there's plenty of crossover for sure. So yeah, it was relatable to America on that level and felt less threatening to America on that level. So I think you had a lot of people that felt like, well, Eminem's saying all this crazy stuff, including probably myself as a fan of his, like Eminem saying all this crazy stuff, and like he doesn't really mean it, because he's not really saying he's gonna do that to his mother, etc., because it's so shocking and over the top. Whereas with Tupac or somebody else, like they're talking more about their life experiences, and so it's just a little scary. Some of the other colors rap music we could all relate to. Yeah, that's why I love hip hop. Ultimately, is that I think it is the most universal form of expression, even though racial politics come into it, and it's like I don't think it's for everyone in that sense, but I also think that like me personally, I've never found a purer form of expression than rapping. It's definitely my favorite for that reason. Eminem stole his bit from Necro. I don't know. I mean, they say that about, not Necro, they say that about Cage. They say that Eminem stole his whole flow and shit from Cage. I don't think that's true. I mean, Cage, there's real similarities. Necro is just, you know, a shock rapper. That whole horrorcore thing has been around forever. Necro got it from fucking Gravediggers, you know what I mean? It's not new. It's never been new. People thought that what Eminem was doing was brand new, but it never was. Yeah, Brother Lynch hung as well. Hell yeah, crazy. But yeah, so I wouldn't say that Eminem stole his thing, because that's the thing about Eminem that people shouldn't forget is like he came up in that scene. He's not like an industry plant where they're like, well, we have this popular black music, we just need to put a white face on it. That's kind of effectively what ended up happening. But Eminem came up in those scenes rapping with those same dudes, battling those same dudes. You know what I mean? Like he was fighting for his credentials in that same scene. So it's hard for me to say that he stole or ripped somebody off, because like that was where he cut his teeth. He just came from that scene. You could argue that he didn't reflect back on that enough, and that allowed people to think that this was like a whole genre that Eminem created, which is not true. But, you know, I can't blame him, because when he first came out, you know, that's why he said on one of his first singles, I bought Cage's tape, opened it, and dubbed over it. That's because that was one of the first things people were saying about him on in the hip hop world when he first came out. So I think it's fair, but also definitely you can't take away his writing. He was doing something writing wise that Cage, Necro, none of those dudes ever touched, bro. Like none of them can write a song the way Eminem can, even in fucking 1999. Second, recognize that same dude. Yeah, that's who we're talking about. We're talking about Cage and Necro. It's probably one of those two you're thinking about. You're probably thinking of Cage. Crazy. And yeah, my point is that, like, yes, there's style similarities there. I don't think it's fair to say Eminem stole from them. Some people probably would, but it's all a matter of perspective, right? Like, if you're close to Cage and you feel like Cage is the illest to ever do it, and then you see Eminem get more popular from that, something similar, you're gonna be like, oh, Cage was already doing this. But like, I don't think people around Eminem would say the same thing. But, you know, a lot of these fucking rappers, like, Cage was a fucking heroin addict, bro. And, like, love to him, you know, no disrespect. Eminem was an addict, too. But, like, I don't know. If you're going to fucking ruin your life, then you can't really be that surprised that somebody else is going to be more successful than you. You know, some of these rap dudes are fucking losers, bro. I don't want to say that about Cage. I don't know enough about Cage to say that. But he's definitely one of these rappers that, like, he never treated his career the same way Eminem did. Eminem didn't stop pursuing it until he made it. You know, he wasn't planted. He didn't have he wasn't a nepo baby. You know what I mean? Yeah, you could say he mastered that flow. He mastered a style that was becoming popular at a certain time. You know, I think he was just better at it than anybody else. Yeah. This beat is called Etoile. That vocal sample is my girlfriend Amira. Oh, Master Ace. I've heard that as well. I don't hear that as much. Master Ace is a different case though. Master Ace wasn't really a shock rapper. He was more like that syllable flow, like rhyming like 6 syllables in one line. That's more so what people are saying. I don't hear the similarity as much, although people do say that about Master Ace. I've never felt that way. Yeah. Master Ace, mastered of his ace, and now I'm just stashing my place. Maybe I can share the screen, I'm not sure. It might be a little bit embarrassing. It also might just kind of flow between the therapy and make it a little bit difficult for me to maintain the stream. The sustainability of it kind of gets a little bit condensed when I'm trying to put all these things on a screen at once, and it kind of causes the whole thing to plummet. So let me just see if I can get into the plumbing and cause a little bit of the obstruction to get flowing again. I'm just getting it flowing again. I'm trying to be potent on this motherfucking mic. I know that they know it. but I'm also trying to be an opportunity for them to learn the game the way that I flow it. Where's Amira at? She's probably asleep, had a long day, had a long weekend. Now the discussion is over and she is just taking some time to recuperate. So I'm trying to rejuvenate this mic and slowly putting the juices in place so I can do these things that I need to smooth out my fate. Seems like fate is coming around the corner, but my face is kinda getting lost in place. The darkness is coming over me in the angles that I'm trying to stay stationed in. I'm not sure where my station is, but I know that they stay lying in wait, seeing if I'm gonna make some kind of mistake so they can swoop in and start appreciating the flow and maybe ripping it off just to make sure they can keep it going. They wanna take this thing I'm doing and turn it into a mainstream phenomenon so they can make the money and just run off with it and cut it off. But I'm not gonna cut off the flow of resources the way they all would. Got the ace in the deck and I'm sure you all could understand the flow, but even after that it's all good. Yeah, I'm standing and I'm stalling and I'm doing the things they wish they all could. Yeah, and that's what I thought it meant, but really the essence of all this shit is coming in. I'm just blessed to be a part of it, trying to bring the blessings in, and really the lesson I'm learning. Master Ace took the name as a play on Master Race. I'm not sure about all that, but that could be the case. Never heard that one, but that's the kind of thing that those 5%ers were on at the time in that place of New York, trying to find that perfect way to rhyme and be on the top and the upper line. And they were kind of co-signing and trying to align their whole approach to rhyming around that one type of concept. So that might be where he got that, but I never heard that. Master A seems like it could have come from a few different places, so that's just the one thing to replace. I'm not trying to erase the memory, but I'm sure that it's something that essentially gets to me. The way the rest of these MCs trying to reach me with their poisonous touch like anemones. And of course there are plenty of these rhymes that I got in my brain that I'm just trying to be descending, but not be condescending to all these people who want to be on these trending lines. And I'm just trying to find myself friendly inside of this, and I know that they got some problem with this, but why would they lie to this? I mean, I'm just trying some shit, and it seems like my mind just lifts. I speak in hieroglyphs and they can barely understand the stylistics. So let me just try this, trying to just loop you in, and who of course could do the most powerful hallucinogen and then just lose the whole fucking grip again. I'm kinda just falling off of the page and losing my balance, stumbling, and of course I found a room to stumble in. There's no room to be waiting on the empire to crumble the way it always did, and of course they can find their course, but things are getting a little bit more hoarse like my voices, and I'm just listening to the voices and trying to voice this despair I'm feeling. And of course they could barely care, but this air that I'm breathing is the last gas that I'm gonna get, and of course the gas that they want to be huffing is gonna keep them thinking that they got it perfect, that they got everything figured out and all the numbers line up perfectly. But of course when you re-crunch it, you find that ChatGPT was the one that was behind it in the first place, and of course it is flawed and there are too many holes that I could poke in it. So let me just poke through it, and I know that once we get through the flame and the smoke in it, once there's smoke there's probably fire, and there's fire, but I'm getting flyer somewhere near it. So I hope you can feel the realness that I'm trying to put in, and I hope they can steer clear of it, cause they're not gonna see it till they get to the clearing. And I'm trying to put all these rhymes on clearance. Get what you can, everything's gotta go, everyone's got a place that they gotta go. So I gotta know how the fuck can you stop the flow. There's no way, it's not possible. Wanna serve a subpoena like Hasan, gonna have to go and explain his trip to Cuba. Probably not though, seems like Fox News got ahead of their skis and announced something that they don't actually have the paperwork behind the scenes to actually make happen, and really just wanted it to be an intimidation tactic so he would stop his advocacy. But that's not gonna happen, and really probably just gonna make him a big figure than he was. But you see a lot of these liberal commentators, soulless fucks that are cheering it on, hating Hasan enough that they forget that the mission that he was on, delivering aid to Cubans, is exactly what liberals should have been focused on for the last several years. And that's why they've been gone from the public discourse, stand in for nothing, and the people that actually stand for something something are the ones that are gonna get attacked by the administration. That's just how this shit goes. It always happens that way. People that poke up a little bit further than they're supposed to, I suppose that's the one that they're gonna go after, cause they get exposed to the elements in a way that suddenly there's so many things that they're telling us, and the information that they're getting to us is not something that the government can allow to be reaching the people. And of course they're gonna try to find some way to intervene, and really this is just the lean that they lean on to make sure that we're not seeing the things that he's putting on our screens. But it's not gonna work, cause eventually it's just gonna go back the other way, and probably this fucking subpoena is not even gonna manifest itself, and the whole thing will just go away, and will just be more publicity for Hasan, cause that's the only way the Trump administration seems to operate, is TV logic and ratings, and they just made his whole reputation better. Even if Fox News is gonna get some cheddar out of this fucking news cycle that they got nothing better to talk about, cause the unfettered loss of Trump and Iran is causing them some embarrassment. They're gonna have to find some letter that they can send out on some subpoena to fake it, so they can tell us that something is happening behind the scenes of government, like Kash Patel going on Fox News saying people were gonna be arrested for the 2020 election. He was capping. It was all just bullshit, and they're assuming that we're gonna buy it hook, line, and sinker, and think that they're doing things. Yeah, I bought a new mic, not really that new, but it's just the same type. Blue one this time. I used to have a black one, but the past like 5 or 6 streams have been this one. I don't like it as much, to be honest, but to just keep it going, this shit is crystal clear. When I'm trying to speak the phonics and trying to get it through sonically, I'm spitting speedily like Sonic, and I can see that they want to be done with me, coming, seeing if I'm driving through like Sonic. And it's a sonogram that they're gonna have to see through, and of course I'm on the gram, and of course I've got a lot of things that I gotta repeat, and the diaphragm is getting a little bit squeezed, but this squeeze they're putting on me is only gonna lead me to fling back the other direction and be 20 times more free. And they say nothing is free, but what is the fee? I mean, I could never see defeat. This is something that I'm doing just because I believe that there's something in me, like there's something in you. And of course it's gonna be difficult to get it across, cause there's too many things in the way that they want to eschew, and they want to keep my fucking frame of reference askew. But that's not something that I'm gonna clue you in. I'm just waiting on my cue to do what I gotta do. Yeah, you see some improvement? That's good, Devil. Sebastian. What does it say it ended? Stream ended. You guys still there? It says the stream ended on my channel. Did the stream get interrupted for you guys? Yeah, not sure what happened. Government's on my back, trying to knock me off the back end. Seemed like things blackened out for a second. Bot London on the track. Yeah, you know I'm a fucking bot. Like London on the track. What the fuck they talking about? Matter of fact, they're all bot. They're all just bots and paid for it, cause they got a lot of thoughts, but they got no one who wants to actually be listening to their costs. And what's the cost of faking and astroturf and the whole fucking audience, and then going on tour finding that nobody wants to cop your fucking tickets except some cops or something, cause the structure of society is actually propped up by all that type of bullshit props that some of these rappers are getting unnamed names, but I'm just staying in the coffers and I'm staying on top of it, trying to understand the things they're copping. Yeah, white moderates still ringing true. MLK warned me and you that white moderates are the worst thing that you could possibly be, cause you're standing in the way between true progress in this country, and the radicals on the left are the ones that are actually pulling it comfortably, but they're also the ones that can get in their own way. White liberals are the ones that are constantly saying we need to stay in this position and not be actively activated or agitating to change things, because that's just gonna cause some structural complications, and that's not what liberals like to deal with. Having a lack of imagination is basically like a fucking orientation or a vocation for some of these people that are on the news station, and really it's just driving me crazy. We need to be changing the station and filling up that space space with something a little better for the brain and something a little more soothing. Of course, the discourse could be improving as long as I'm in it and you and the rest of us who need to understand this truism that I'm bringing through the prism is the one thing that's gonna get me put into prison if I'm speaking too long and then some. I don't think I can share my screen for this stream. I'll try to do that in the future. Check, check. Check, check. Check, check. What did you say? You said liberals hate on Hasan for doing something radical to help the people in Cuba, while at the same time saying that generally they agree to help people in Cuba. Yeah, it's like they don't like these. They like these things in concept, not in practice. You can apply that to literally anything. You can apply it to Medicare for all. Well, I believe healthcare is a right in concept, but in practice, I disagree with eradicating the insurance industry. What, you're going to put all these people out of work? Yeah, you are, because they work in an industry that shouldn't fucking exist. And like being unafraid to do things like that, especially when it comes to the private sector, that's what Democrats are supposed to stand for. Yeah, I'll prepare better for that next time, just so I can do that for you. I'm an album person. I try to listen to his album straight. It's just not for me. I actually like some of the new shit from Drake. I don't love it, and I have not listened to the full album. But the few songs that I heard are like the more like rapping tracks, you know, where he's like rapping to a sampled beat or something. Or there's one producer that he's been working with that I like a lot, whose name is Overcast. And so like I like that stuff, man. I feel like when Drake does that, or even some of the songs where he's talking his shit about the beef, which like a lot of people think is lame, because he just like won't let it go. But you know, I fuck with it. I kind of like that he put out a bunch of shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's what you're supposed to do. You know, he's got to fucking get back in there. Trying to find a good bass sound right now. Might end up being the first of these live streams that I actually get over 1,000 on, which I don't know why. This one doesn't feel particularly spectacular or anything. You don't like Drake's voice that much? I don't mind Drake's voice. His lyrical content doesn't do it for me. And just his approach, I don't know. But like sometimes I do fuck with it. I fuck with when you can tell he's making an effort to make some good hip-hop music. Plus they were saying, like some of his bars that he had for Khaled, DJ Khaled, and you know, some of the little shit he's putting in there, like I fuck with it. Obviously Drake is lame for always doing his fucking subliminal shit. But like, I don't know, I like it. Drake has a decent sense for how to do the hip-hop thing. Fuck, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to play. I might not be able to do this the way I want to. You learned everything you need to know from Drake about Drake from Kendrick. That's like Drake's worst nightmare. Check, check. Okay, this still works. Check. Okay, perfect. I think Drake is a more stealing guy or buying guy from ghostwriters, but not sure. Buying from ghostwriters. He does buy from ghostwriters for sure. It's almost at the point where it's like he's just doubled down on that to the point where it's just like that's just what he does now. Nice. Check, check. So you guys can't hear me when the fucking music is playing, can you? Check, check. Can you hear me? Check, 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 check. Check, check. Can you hear me? Check, check. Check, check. Can you hear me? Check, check. Yeah. Nothing to say about Kendrick. Yeah, he stayed away from that one, didn't he? I thought he said some stuff about being taller than him or something. I still want to see I still want to see Kendrick versus J. Cole, man. I feel robbed of that. As a listener, I feel like I should have got that. Drink wants to smoke now. You could argue that now that he's now that he's been in his bag for a while, he's a little more prepared for it. I don't think any of them were prepared for it before. Kendrick kind of hit him with a sneak attack. He definitely got beat up by the smaller guy. Check, check. Yeah, and I think the only reason we're even seeing all this music from him now is because he fucking lost. He lost so bad, bro. So I wonder if that's gonna still, like, is he gonna keep fighting that, or is it just a wrap at this point? I think it's probably just a wrap. But you know Drake's petty ass is gonna keep fighting it if he can. Yeah, so Drake sued UMG, the label. He sued his own label, essentially on the accusation that they purposely promoted Kendrick's diss over his, and that suit lost. So that was Drake's immediate response to the beef, was to try to sue UMG, his own label, and it got dismissed recently. That's interesting. I'm surprised you hadn't heard that. Crazy Link. J. Cole was trying too hard to keep the peace. Kendrick got 2 verses on the fall, but they were scrapped after the beef. Interesting. One YouTuber was begging for someone to hack J. Cole's computer to leak them. Is that real, though? Do we know that for a fact? I don't know if I buy the fact that Kendrick even did 2 J. Cole songs. Maybe he did. Maybe that fed into the beef in a way, where he was like offended that J. Cole was sitting on some songs with him, and then dropped that shit with Drake. Because as far as we know, the whole beef started because Drake and J. Cole did that song together, First Person Shooter. That apparently was what pissed Kendrick off so bad. Drake might be the new Jay-Z. In terms of business acumen, maybe, but I don't think Drake is as ownership oriented as Jay-Z is. I mean, they're definitely comparable in terms of like the level of success and dominance that they've had, but I don't know if Jay-Z was really strategic on the business side. He was like, I want to dominate, not just in music, but like, he's just a capitalist. So Drake is that too, but he just seems to have more of a specific focus. I feel like Drake is like, if he can live a nice lifestyle, he doesn't really care so much about being like the top businessman. He wants to be the top rapper, but I don't think he cares about being a mogul in the same way that Jay-Z does. That's not that crazy though. You're not that crazy for that. If I do say so myself. I'm trying to figure out how to... Audio on this is fucking with me. Yeah. Why can I all of a sudden... Check. So weird. I don't understand this shit. First Person Shooter was supposed to be a Drake and K-Dot song. J. Cole was invited after Kendrick. Yeah, that sounds right. Me Out is like this when Jay really falls off Drake there to replace, which Drake already comes close to. Let me put it like this. When Jay-Z falls off Drake there to replace, which Drake already comes close to. Replace in what sense, though? Like, I mostly get what you're saying, but like in what way would Kendrick end up replacing Jay-Z? I don't know if I fully see that. Check, check. I just can never tell if my audio is gonna come through or not. Check, check. Check, check. This part's gonna be fun. Lintha, you said, when am I getting the MPK Mini? I don't know. I'm not usually big on buying gadgets like this. This is the first Beat thing I've bought in a while. It's because I just like had basically a breakthrough creatively that allows me to like, before I was just chopping up samples and just like placing them myself in the DAW, whereas now I've been experimenting more with playing it. So that's the only reason I got this. When I got it was because it was cheap. So I don't see myself buying a bunch of stuff like that. Even this is like not that great quality wise, but I just wanted something. Check, check. Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out the audio on this part a little better. Hey, Chris DeBonte, how you doing, bro? Morning. You're coming in sort of on the tail end here, but that's okay. I started at 3 today. That's pretty much when I'm doing these from now on. It's 3 a.m. Pacific time. I can't really blame you for missing it since it's 3 a.m. Check, check. There were more trolls in the chat this time, Chris. There haven't been that many. But this stream got a little bit more viewership for whatever reason, so I had more fucking annoying people in there for a while. I guess technically it's Monday morning at 3 a.m. But for me, I consider it Sunday night. How are you doing, Chris? Are you still struggling? You're back in insomnia land? Yeah, same. That's good, man. I'm glad to hear that. Very glad to hear that. I'm trying to get on PG Lang, bro. That's the only fucking label I would sign to. But yeah, I don't think they're not really on that for real. I don't think Kendrick is that interested in like signing a bunch of artists. I think he's trying to be very concerted about it. I think Kendrick is also just overly careful about everything. I think that's probably going to hurt him in business more than anything. He's a little too cautious for the business world, I think. But hopefully it pays off with PG Lang. I would love to see PG Lang become like a dominant label, a dominant force in music. I don't see how they're going to do that with three artists, but. Yeah, I'd fuck with Dreamwell. I guess I can see that for myself less. Maybe I'm just delusional, but I feel like it'd be a better fit. PG Lang. I could see myself writing with Kendrick. I don't know about J. Cole or like Jid, for example. But I don't know. I don't know that any label situation would be best for me, honestly. Probably best for me to stay off of labels. But I mean, yeah, if Dreamville was hollering at me, I would definitely not turn it down. No question. Some Dumb Beats. I feel like I've seen that name before. Have you been in the chat before? Are you familiar with the channel, or are you just hanging out? With good music that's Kanye shit. Who the fuck is even running good music at this point? You can always upgrade to a better label. That's what Brody Called did. Started on her husband's record, but signed independent to a major record label when the opportunity came. Yeah, sometimes you can't upgrade to a better label though. Sometimes people get really stuck because essentially the way it works is a label will sign you for a certain amount of albums or songs or whatever. But if, say, you drop 2 of 4 albums on a label, and they don't commercially do as well as the label expected, maybe they do decent. Like you have a fan base and you did a little tour that went well, and like in your view for your career, the album releases went well, but for the label, they didn't make a return. They have new signees. They have hit songs with other artists. Next thing you know, you get shelved. And so then, because you signed a deal with the wrong label, you essentially don't have the ability to put out music. And that prevents you from getting out of the deal. So that's why you see certain artists doing things like, drop an album real quick, or some people speculate that the reason Drake dropped 3 albums at once is to get out of one of his contracts, to finish the contract so he can move on. But the reason he has the ability to do that is because he has a lot of leverage, and he can control his career a lot more than certain artists. if I sign to a label, especially given like the political nature of what I do, the pace that I like to, I like to release shit all the time. And I just wouldn't be able to do that at a label. So any label deal that I signed, it would have to stipulate that like I have complete control over my releases and, ownership and that sort of thing. That would be my concern. And because I don't have a lot of leverage, then it would be hard for me to get a good deal. That's the problem with that. My music library is big. Russian, Germany, Spanish. Not much from my own country. What's your country? Yeah, and people have different speculation about why Drake dropped 3 albums. That may not be it. I don't know, but it would make sense. And artists do that. Like, okay, I'm gonna drop this album, and I'm just gonna drop the B-sides and call that an album, and we're done. Or like even Kendrick with TDE, he was contracted for one last album, so he dropped Mr. Morale, and then he was done. So usually that's how it works, but you only have the ability to do that sort of thing if you have real leverage. And you can't get leverage unless the label gives you the attention you deserve. For example, you could have a hit song, but because the label's not putting any resources into it, it never goes anywhere, and then you are shelved. So that's, until I really have some major leverage, a major audience, a hit song or two, I think signing to a label for me would be very risky. But that doesn't mean I wouldn't do it. Shady Records and Aftermath. You're being funny, Luntha. I don't even think I wouldn't even be opposed to shining to Shady Records, honestly. It seemed like it did okay for what's that name? Dude's name Boogie. I mean, he got out there. It doesn't seem to be the best move for rappers to sign to Eminem. Aftermath, I don't even know. I don't think they're active still. I would consider signing to Shady though. Yeah, they'll try to 360 you fast because they just got to think in terms of like, well, if we're gonna invest money in somebody, if we're gonna do a fucking advance, we want to make sure that this is worth it. And a lot of times labels will just try to wrap you up in a deal so that somebody else can't have you. So like if you have momentum, but you aren't necessarily what the label wants to focus on, they might just sign you and then just shelve you so that they don't have to deal with you as competition. I think that happens a lot. Yeah, capitalism. That's all it ever is. No, I don't think you're thinking of Halsey. I think you're thinking of Haley Williams. Crazy. She was the one who did a song with B.O.B. I don't think Halsey did a song with B.O.B. unless I missed that. Did Prince do that to get out of a deal? I saw you said something about that earlier. I didn't read it. Is that why Chris did the thing? Prince had to drop his name to move to a new label. That's funny. I didn't even know that. I don't think they did a B.O.B. song. I think you're thinking of the song Airplanes in the Night Sky, like shooting stars. I could really use a wish right now. Wish right now. That's Haley Williams, who has put out new music. She's put out new music recently. Is that who you're talking about? I did hear about MIA getting kicked off the Cuddy tour. She fucking deserved it, bro. These people, man, they want to be so fucking... They want to force that into everything. Like, apparently Cuddy told her not to do that, and she just couldn't help herself but bring up right-wing politics on stage. And it's like, why? Like, why do you have to do that? Obviously, you're going to get fucking kicked off. You're creating a situation where you get kicked off. But, you know, to them, to people who believe in that, it's the worst thing in the world, because it's like their views are righteous and legit and whatever. I don't know. I just don't understand. It's the self-sabotage I don't understand. Had that song in your head. But so you're talking about Halsey. Halsey, I do also... I don't know when she would last drop music, but I don't think it's been that long. She drops regularly. Halsey's not that good. Haley Williams is much better. Halsey is mid, in my opinion. Yeah, no, I do remember that. And it's funny because I remember people talk about it in terms of like, oh, Prince did this. He's so crazy. He's so wacky and kooky. And, you know, come to find out, of course, it's just something he did to get out of a label deal. I'm surprised I didn't know that, though. I'm kind of just dicking around with this beat right now. I don't know if it's gonna work. Chris DeBlante, I'm playing with my new toy that I bought. This little pocket MIDI controller thing. It's pretty cool. Coco Jones, I don't know Coco Jones. Cousin was at that show. She said it reminded her of those pro AI graduations. The AI graduation speeches are crazy. My favorite one was when she was like, "Oh, what happened?" Like she had no idea. I love that. Love that. Smack him in the face with reality. Check. Shit is acting weird as hell. Coco Jones was in Let It Shine. I still don't know about that. Why are the feds mad about Hasan going to Cuba? I talked about that a little bit. I actually freestyled about it a little bit. I talked about it earlier in the live, but essentially Hasan went there to do humanitarian aid. They don't like that his message was specifically pro-Cuba and anti-American sanctions, anti-American capitalism. So that's why they don't like him. They say that they want to know if he violated any rules, like going to the wrong hotel. He actually got shit for the hotel he went to when he went, because they were saying that it was too ritzy and fancy. And turns out he actually went to one of the hotels that isn't sanctioned, meaning he went the legal way. But the person who didn't go the legal way is Nick Shirley. Nick Shirley appeared to be live streaming from a hotel that is sanctioned, that as an American he's not legally allowed to go to. So the charges against Hasan are bogus. There's no charges, but whatever it is that they're angling at is gonna eventually fall apart if it hasn't already. I don't even know that this subpoena is real, because Fox News said there was a subpoena and then it never went anywhere. So that's about the gist of it. Yeah, I wish we didn't. I wish we didn't have to have this endless stream of fake conservative fucking celebrities that we have to know about. My life has definitely gotten worse ever since I've started paying attention to the conservative grifter parade. But what else can you do? Speed is not very good. Without Nick, how would we learn about fraud that's already being prosecuted on a big scale? That's true. How would the federal government know which minority communities to terrorize without Nick Shirley making things up about them? Yeah. Yeah, maybe we won't go down that path, Chris. But I feel you though. Nick Shirley. Nick Shirley is a conservative grifter who makes poorly made documentaries about minority communities that he views as stealing. Should I just freestyle on this beat for a second and call it a day? Check, check. Why can't I hear myself on the beat though? Check, there we go. Nick Shirley, surely he could find a new place to serve some sherbet instead of trying to get people thrown under the heap, under the jail. What the fuck is his frail ass doing about talking about going to California to find some fraud, but found nothing but fail and snails underneath rocks that he turned over just to see if it would prevail. The prevailing narrative about him is he's illiterate and ill-witted, but still just a little kid who barely even knows shit. Homeschooled little twit that has no idea any of the shit he's talking about when it comes to immigrants in their communities or welfare, that they get fundamentally opposed to it and opposed to what he considers fraud. But it doesn't have to be real long as it goes out to his audience and gets them riled up and all kinds of bullshit, gets them twerking and tweaking and trying to find new ways to go after Haitians and other immigrant communities that they're suspicious of and want to get them deported through any means necessary. That's really the point of the project, pointing at anyone that he can, trying to point away from the corruption of Trump and his ilk, standing next to Howard Lutnick and the rest of the Epstein crew, cause he just gets whatever clout he needs to make a dollar or a few to keep making his fake documentary about fucking Cuba. He should be the one getting subpoenaed, going to the wrong hotel he went to Blante, hell yeah, in the chat, much love, always showing love. Yeah, that's the day one. And I've been doing the same thing from day one, just waiting for the days to go on. And it's taking way too long, but I'm just trying to be the one putting the phrase together. And they can't even ride the wave the same way that I'm on. And I'm just trying to find a new time frame so I can stay on things that they want to move on from. Talking about fraud in California, but really it's just a doubt that's put on the community, society, the fabric, and the trust that we all have that whatever tax money's going towards is ending up where it's supposed to be. That's really the problem. But conservatives want to make it about entitlements and about people being on the dole that they don't feel they should be owing any dollars to, rather than the military spending or the thievery from Trump, 1.7 billion slush fund for him and his friends. But that's not fraud and that's not theft. That's not something they care about. They would rather go after petty dollars and cents that people need to pay their rent or get a couple fucking snacks in their children's heads before bed. That's the kind of thing they're going after. But honestly, after all of it, it's still gonna come out in the wash and the people will win. That was a short one, but I think I'm gonna wrap it up. But hell yeah, we got over 1,000 views on this stream. That's a first for these live streams. So much love to everybody in the chat. I appreciate you guys. This was a lot of fun. Krista Blante, good to see you. Fucking Luntha, good to see you. Some Dumb Beats, thank you for joining. Crazy, thank you for joining. What else do we have here? BB, I think was the person's name from before. Yeah, I appreciate you guys being active and chatting with me, listening to me rapping and yapping. So I'll be dropping a new video tomorrow morning. Tuesday morning will be the next video. I've got some new music I'm putting out soon. I've been preparing some visuals for new music. So the next single, In the Pocket, is coming soon. You guys will hear about that. I'll be promoting it on the podcast. So yeah, new music. Haven't quite figured out the right way to chop up the freestyles from these and put them out, but this session was decent, so maybe I'll put out a couple more clips. Taylor Trump is about to sign with Iran. Better the coat, but not as strong. You're gonna have to go back to the beginning of the stream for that. That was something I talked about early on, but basically I think the deal's fake. I don't think there's any deal. We'll see. It seems like Trump announced a deal because he wanted to move towards one. Israel said, don't do that. So now Trump is saying, well, let's not move too fast on the deal. So I don't think there's any deal coming. But there is new music coming. I'll be announcing that soon, probably in the next couple weeks. Maybe at the top of next month would be a good time to drop. Or the 29th tends to be a day that I like. So yeah, that's coming soon. And everybody stay tuned. I appreciate you guys. And I'll be back on stream next Sunday at the same time, 3 a.m. And we'll do another stream just like this. So, hell yeah. And in terms of how you guys would like to see the content, these freestyles chopped up or whatever, if you have any suggestions for that, you can drop it in the chat of the video itself. Once the stream is done, it'll just be a video. You can drop some comments there. So feel free to do that. And yeah, much love. Everybody keep your heads up. Stay locked in. And all eyes on Cuba. And I'll be back next week, guys. Much love. Stay up.